So this is all a bit weird, right? Pep Guardiola reckons that everybody in this country wants Liverpool to win the league. He has watched his Manchester City team move 3 points clear at the top of the Premier League with only 3 games to go. All of a sudden, the Premier League is looking assured for Pep Guardiola. And he's taken an opportunity in a press conference to say that everybody wants Liverpool to win the league. He is flagging this huge bias, this huge uphill battle that Manchester City have to face every day. They are constantly rowing upstream because everybody, the narrative of the country, is completely and utterly against City and in favour of Liverpool. Now, listen, Mr. Guardiola, I have nothing but respect for you, but this is ridiculous. This is an absolutely ridiculous statement. There is not one iota of truth in this. And the reason there is not one iota of truth in this is because football tribalism reigns supreme. If there was no such thing as football bias, if there was no such thing as club rivalry, if there was no such thing as hostilities that have been entrenched in football for well over 100 years, then maybe you'd be onto something, because Manchester City, as of today, are a fairly dislikable team. And I understand why you would think that maybe people wouldn't want to see the current guys of Manchester City succeed. But that isn't what football is. Football is based upon tribal rivalries that has existed for decade after decade after decade. And therefore, people feel far more passionately about Liverpool not winning than they do Man City. This is true in your own city. Surely, you can't say that everybody wants you to lose and you feel like there is this vendetta out against Manchester City when your neighbours, a derby, the team that you face and should be the most intense, the Manchester United fans that you meet on a day-to-day basis must be wishing you well in the league, because by and large, Manchester United fans want Manchester City to win the league. Doesn't that tell you something? Doesn't that totally flag that your suggestion that there is a huge swathe of support against you not there? Everton fans will want Man City to win the league. Chelsea fans will want Man City to win the league. I think the vast majority of football fans around the country will care far more about Liverpool than they do about Man City, and therefore want Man City to win the league. I think that let's try and explore where you think this bias exists. If indeed it does. I don't think it does. But let's try and explore why you think it exists. People in high positions of power, authority and influence in the media have a tendency to support Liverpool. So you have Jamie Carragher, one of the foremost, most articulate, most sought after commentators around at the moment, somebody whose opinion is validated and sought after, somebody who I hold in high regard. Former Liverpool captain, former Liverpool player who won the European Cup with the club. Scouser as well. Graham Souness, obviously, position similar. Danny Murphy at TalkSport. Okay, these people exist. Manchester City don't quite have that. They don't quite have that prestige or that purchase in positions of power in media positions. But that is because it's a relatively new club in terms of this level of influence. So there is no way that we're ever going to wheel out Kevin Horlock, who played for City when Carragher was playing for Liverpool, to find out what he thinks about things. We are never going to find out what Nicky Summerby or Uwe Rosler think about anything, because it isn't about being disrespectful to them. This isn't about me not having a love and an understanding for John Macken. But in the media, you talk to people who have been there and done it. And nobody from that City era has been there and done anything. So obviously the positions, and obviously Liverpool at that point, were huge. And therefore, the positions in media studios are going to be full of Liverpool players. In 2 decades' time, this could be a very different situation, because you could have Phil Foden flying the flag for City in the Sky Studio or whatever. You could easily have a situation where McAtee is on TalkSport every week, in 30 years' time or whatever. So this will evolve and this will change. But for now, it just isn't the case. And Guardiola has got it so wrong, in fact, that I wonder if he's trying to do something here. He's a very clever man. He's a very clever, shrewd, intelligent man who I think perhaps is trying to build a siege mentality at City by claiming that the rest of England is so desperate for his team to slip up in their remaining games that they won't. He's trying to keep the team fully focused because I think he's probably slightly concerned, despite the 5-0 win yesterday, he's slightly concerned that his team might be affected by the events of the Bernabeu. So I'm so surprised that he has come out and said that everybody in this country supports Liverpool. That is a quote. He's talking to beIN Sports. He said everyone in this country supports Liverpool and the people want Liverpool to win more than us. Now, I wonder if he has a complex because of the way that he does things. I wonder if he thinks this because his slightly less holistic approach to football is something that plays on his mind. Manchester City, the way that they have conducted themselves, the way that they have conducted their business, is a very different model to the way Liverpool have done their business. And maybe he can even see the appeal of Liverpool. And maybe he thinks it and therefore thinks that it's more common than it is. Maybe he's projecting his own thoughts onto others. But I guarantee that tribal football rivalries that are entrenched in our psyches and the way that we operate and live our lives are far more potent than anything else. And that is why Evertonians, Chelsea fans, Manchester United fans will all be hoping Man City win the league. Because ultimately, nobody really cares about City. Ultimately, nobody does. They're a brilliant team, they're a wonderful team, but they don't really have the rivalry with anyone. The team who they share a city with are supporting them in their quest for the league. I can't think of a situation anywhere else where that happens. Under no circumstances do Arsenal fans ever want Tottenham to win anything. Under no circumstances do Tottenham fans ever want Arsenal to win anything. I can never imagine a situation where Newcastle, Sunderland, would they ever want to share anything? It's just not possible. So, Manchester City, because of who they are, because of the way they do things, they're run and funded by a Gulf state and they are engaged in a gigantic and successful sports washing exercise. But I and many others still want them to win the league because football rivalry is a wonderful and petty thing. And long may it last. Sorry, Pep, I'm just not with you on this at all. I think that you've got it so wrong. And can anyone, I'll tell you what, do me a favour. Comment on this video. Let me know who you support and who you want to win the league. Thank you and good night. If you've enjoyed this video, do me a big favour. Click subscribe. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. In a bit.